We need to have a localized context where young entrepreneurs meet with funders, meet with venture capitalists in one location. But these young entrepreneurs also need wings, because we need finance to flow to these young entrepreneurs. We as University of Nairobi, we will establish a large innovation fund behind Silicon Valley. Bold idea one. Bold idea two. It's quite incredible. I just said it to the Prime Cabinet Secretary. Again, from outside, it's quite incredible what's happening here in Kenya. You may not even appreciate it when you live here, or when you listen to this from home, you may not even recognize this, but Kenya is a global leader in the green industrialization. And that's a very smart move. Why? Because the jobs of the future are very different of the jobs of the last century in the fossil fuel industry. So Kenya is positioning itself as the green job catalyst, not just for Kenya, not just for Africa, but for the world. So we as University of Nairobi, we're going to launch the first Kenya Green Job Center. But what will it do on the Monday morning? It's one thing to establish a center, but what will it do on the Monday morning? What we want to do, and our takeaway from this conversation this evening, and that's what I want to hear from you gentlemen. What do you need as business leaders in terms of skill set in the green industrialization? Whether it's in infrastructure, in agriculture, your field, in forestry, in energy, what are the skill gaps you experience today which you cannot recruit tomorrow? We want to develop a curriculum on green jobs together with you, but at the same time, also here, there's no free ride. We want to do it together with business, but we want to have a common understanding and an agreement that when we develop and launch the Green Job Center, when this curriculum is there and students are doing this, you absorb them in well-paid, well-trained jobs in your sector. Number two, green jobs. Number three, we just heard about it. Artificial intelligence. Moses, CS, you're media savvy. Prime Cabinet Secretary, you're all over. But if I think about artificial intelligence, I think about numbers. Think about it. 2030, the world economy will add 15 trillion US dollars from the AI sector alone. 15 US dollars. 60% of all the top researchers on AI, where are they? In the United States. Making $250 billion from the private sector in America alone. Here in Kenya, here in Africa, we also have the beginning of an AI transformation. But again here, we want to bring that to the next level. Hence, we will set up a dedicated AI school to do exactly that, because we have, quite frankly, the best mathematicians in the university. We have in this room, in this country, the best entrepreneurial spirit. Combine it with Silicon Savannah and also the AI revolution, will not be only Africa-led, Africa-owned, but ladies and gentlemen, Prime Cabinet Secretary, it's time for AI to come home to Africa, to Kenya. The fourth one, which is very close to my heart, leadership. All of you here in this room, you do not need to be convinced about the importance of leaders, of leadership, because that's what you do on a daily basis. And if you believe, and if I believe, and if we believe that the 21st century is for the taking here in Africa. Leadership is key. And CS Korea, you already have Kenya School of Government. But what we are going to do at the University of Nairobi to establish a dedicated leadership institute. Why? To prepare the next generation of African leaders, government, civil society, international organization, business community. And as I said, we want to go, Honorable Prime Cabinet Secretary, we want to go to the top. There is no time to be modest, to be complacent, to be shy. We want to go to the top so we don't compare ourselves with our neighbors alone. We don't compare ourselves with African academic institutions alone. We want to be judged and compared by the top Ivy League institutions. So, to do that, this Leadership Institute will form a partnership with Harvard. Why? My own alma mater, the Harvard Kennedy School, I had very productive conversations with them in the last few weeks. And I said to him, listen, you have an Africa agenda as Harvard. And it may not be very clear cut how you get it landed in Africa. But we're ready to partner through this Leadership Institute with the Kennedy School of Government, that the Harvard community, the faculty comes to Nairobi, the curriculum comes to Nairobi, because it's an interesting fact. Dozens and dozens of rich young Africans go to Cambridge, Boston, Massachusetts, to Harvard, to MIT, to Columbia, to Stanford, and that's great. But if you live in Mukuru, or in Makwene, or in Kisumu, or in Mombasa, you also have ambitions for leadership, and you may not be able to pay to go to Boston, or to New York, or to Stanford, or to London, or to Paris. But you may be able to go to the University of Nairobi, to the Leadership Institute, and that's exactly what we're going to prepare. The fifth one, health. Kenya has made tremendous progress in the last years on all health indicators, right? Tremendous progress. And it's a clear testimony, not just to this administration, but to the previous administration and to the previous administration. But it's also a testimony to the brilliant faculty of health sciences, which we have within the University of Nairobi. And we have the dean and some faculty members here with us. But think about it. Think about it. What if we double our lab capacities? What if we scale our research? What if we invest in clinical trials? What if we partner with leading institutions? That, ladies and gentlemen, these 5 interconnected initiatives is the big 5. We, students, faculty, partners, government, there is only one way, is to deliver. It's one thing to be standing here on stage, come with a great speech or a so-so speech, Jeff will tell me afterwards. But if we don't deliver, it's a 1 or a 0. We deliver or it is failure. So back to the white elephant in the room, that is how I want to be judged. Delivery or no delivery on the big 5. At scale, at speed. Now to you, ladies and gentlemen. There is no way for the big 5 to take off without you. Because as the CS of Finance and Treasury will testify, we're living in a fiscally constrained world. The expectations that money falls from the sky from government to invest even more in public universities, that's not a reality in which we're living in the 21st century. So the resources, the partnership have to come from somewhere else if we want to lift. And that's where you come in. I count on all of you here, each one of you, to form a champions group around the Big Five. And as I said to you, Jeff, on Sunday night, Ban Ki-moon, the 8th Secretary of the United Nations, he's coming to Nairobi on September 20th as a champion of the Big Five. Kristalina Georgieva, head of the IMF, President Adesina, President of the African Development Bank, they're coming here on December 13 as champions behind the Big Five. But we need you to lift this agenda. So let me close with a few words specifically to the Honorable Prime Cabinet Secretary, our guest of honor, providing soon his keynote remarks. Sir, in your words, it's Africa's century. It's Kenya's moment. And when we deliver the Big Five, let us put our largest shareholder, our youth, front and center. Because, as you said so many times, sir, your future belongs to them today. And only, sir, by equipping them is this university, this bright university, this country, this continent, unstoppable. Asante sana. Thank you very much.
Another round of applause for Professor Verkooyen. You know, I feel so dumb this evening because this room is full of such professionals and academia. Professor this, doctor that, all this. I can't handle it. It's incredible. I mean, and the passion in this room. You guys are here. It's a Tuesday night. You could be doing other things, but you're here listening to this Big Five because you're passionate about it. Do you feel it? You feel it? There you go. All right, up next, folks, I'd like to introduce the Cabinet Secretary for Education, Ezekiel Mashogu, in the house, coming to say a few words. Buenos dias. Keep it short, buenos dias, sir. You're not announcing any KCSE results. You're not announcing KSC.
Yeah, thank you very much, my friend Chief. Your Excellency, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, my friend, Mr. Chancellor Sir, Mr. Patrick, my friend, the CS, Moses Kuria, the Chairman of University Council, the Principal Secretary is here present. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Good evening once again. Yeah, thank you very much, Your Excellency. You are aware that a few months ago, when His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, said there is one man known as Patrick, and they came up with that idea that the man will be the best chancellor for the University of Nairobi. And indeed, after His Excellency, the President appointed him as the Chancellor of Nairobi, we had an opportunity of engaging because I've had 4 meetings, including the meeting I also had, I think, yesterday. We had a lengthy meeting discussing on various issues pertaining to the University of Nairobi. I want to assure you one thing, but before I do so, allow me to thank this great man for organizing and conceiving this idea of having this dinner and inviting the core partners and the stakeholders in the side of education in this very, very important occasion. Because when he told me about the dinner, I did not even understand what he had in mind, but now it is very clear to each and every one of us what his thinking was all about. Your Excellency, the Kenya Kwanzaa administration, 1.5 years ago, His Excellency the President, in his wisdom, appointed the Presidential Working Party on Education Reform. And that particular team was appointed because there were a lot of challenges, right from basic, tertiary, all the way to university. And of course, what he had in mind, that they were to address the various challenges and come up with something sustainable for our country, because Kenya, our beloved country Kenya, the only resource we have that we can be proud of is the human resource. But again, that particular resource we have cannot be of any meaning unless we equip it properly with the kind of skills and the competencies required in order to compete in this 21st century. And Your Excellency, the kind of reforms that we are undertaking in the education sector, in each and every subsector, kind of conforms with what our brother and friend, the Chancellor, is coming up with. And I want to assure Kenyans that all is well, because one such area that was really affecting the education sector, particularly the university subsector, as you are aware, was funding. We had a system that was commonly known as a DUC, differentiated unit cost, that was not sustainable. And we came up with a new system now, the new funding model, which is based and determined by the level of need of each and every household, and also student-centered. And with that particular system, which the first cycle is over now, having admitted the first years, we are on the second cycle, which is coming up in September. I want to assure Kenyans that all is well. And today we had a meeting of our vice chancellors of all the 40 public universities in Kenya, with His Excellency the President, trying to analyze and assess the success of that particular system. And we are assured that in 2 years' time, we should be able to come out of the financial challenges that we were in, Your Excellency, and our universities are doing well. And there are so many other reforms we are undertaking because, ladies and gentlemen, you are aware that the world now is actually at the fourth industrial revolution. When we ask ourselves, last week, Your Excellency, you know, as chairman of the Commonwealth, I was chairing the Commonwealth group of ministers in London, the 56 countries, and after that, we had the World Education Forum, bringing together all the ministers of the world and top education leaders in the world. And one thing we were saying, as Africans, in this fourth industrial revolution, where are we? What was it that was done during the first, the second, and the third industrial revolution? When we talk of artificial intelligence, it's not artificial insemination, madam, it is. When we talk about that, when we talk about robotics, where are we? Because if we are going to be left behind in this, then you can see and you can imagine the kind of damage that African countries will have to face. So we welcome this great Kenyan. I always now call him a Kenyan because indeed he's so passionate, he's so committed in what he wants to do, and I have given him the assurance. And on behalf of all of you, Your Excellency, I've given him the assurance that as a government, we are going to give him 100% support. I want, Your Excellency, I have discussed with you, you know my thoughts. The chairman of the council is here, the vice chairman, now where's Mama chairman? These two men are here. If they don't want to support the agenda of the Chancellor, This great man, si hata mnajua vile nitafanya. Ketini. Chairman, ketini na wewe keti, mzee Vice Chancellor. Sasa ile mambo ambayo imekuwa huko na huko, ile ni upuzi. Mimi sitakubali kamwe university ambaye His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya, yeye amesoma hapo first degree, second, up to PhD. My boss here hapo. Mimi kama waziri wa elimu hapo. Alafu sasa wengine wanakuja na agenda ambayo si kusupport huyu jameni, ni ya kumenyana. Tutahitaji hiyo. Wakitaka kumenyana waende huko nyumbani wafanya, lakini si kwa University of Nairobi. Mnaniunga mkono kwa hiyo? Kwa hivyo sasa mimi tena nikiona magazeti na iko wengine hapo university kazi yao ni kufuruga. Your Excellency, nafikiri utanipatia ruhusa, na nafikiri nimekuambia vile mambo hiko sasa kwenda mbele, kwa sababu watu hatuwezi kuruhusu, we can't allow watu wapite red line. Mimi kama nimekuappoint council member, sasa wewe unaenda kufanya mambo yako huko, kwani unataka nini? Si wewe ufanye vile huyu anafanya jameni, si tumuunge mkono? Sasa Wakenya tuko namna gani? Chairman, umenisikia? Na unajua yangu nikisema hapana iko mbali, ukiteresa huko, Vice Chancellor mkiteresa huko, hapana iko mbali. So si hayo yametuleta hapa leo, yale yametuleta ni makubwa, na nafikiri good news. Universities, Vice Chancellors, we had a very nice meeting with His Excellency the President, and there is assurance that our young people coming to our universities and the TVET institutions, we have established what we call 5 funds, and Your Excellency, Kenyans are always very proactive and going even ahead of us. Wanafikiria mbele yetu. We established 5 funds, but we now have 6. There are Kenyans who said, yes, why do you want government to pay for us in form of anything, even taking loans? And we are able to pay. So we had 18,000 Kenyans who were able to pay school fees 100%. 7.4 billion Wakenya walilipa, and moving forward, that is what we are encouraging Kenyans to do, such that it is not only government to undertake and carry the burden, but we share the cost. Otherwise, for those who come from families that are needy, for those who come from families that require government support, we also give assurance that no Kenyan child ambaye atapaki nyumbani bila kupata masomo. Niko na PSS hapa, my PS Beatrice Nyangara, introduce my PS wote kwa dakika chache moja, wasimamo wa introduce before I call my friend in a minute. Yes. Yeah, PSS, thank you very much for coming, my friend. Judge Tabatari, I know there are quite a number here. You can say a word and then you introduce the rest. In a minute, please. Yes.
Prime Cabinet Secretary, Mr. Chancellor, sir, CSS, PSS, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I'm not too sure I saw any other judge, but if there's a judge here, please stand up. As I suspected, there's none, except myself. Greetings from the Chief Justice who sent me here to represent her. I'm very happy she chose me. I doubt anyone would have wanted to miss that speech. Number one. Number two, I have the position of lead judge in technology adoption in the judiciary. So all these things that we do, I'm waking up at 3 in the morning because the system downside. So the conversation around AI has hit my heart, like when we were young and trying to get saved in church because some preacher has come and has hit your heart. Let me make a commitment, therefore, that on the AI conversation, please involve the judiciary. We are Africa's leader now with regard to uptake of technology. And we have delegations from across Africa coming to see what we are doing around technology. Working with the University of Nairobi, I am certain we shall get to go to much, much higher levels. Number 2, the question of leadership and the center. Again, involve us in this. We in the judiciary are assumed to be characters who sit somewhere up there, issue judgments, sentence people to death, as if we are not leaders. We are leaders because we are a whole arm of government. If we don't get training into leadership in the judiciary, we shall have a whole arm left out there, led by people who themselves don't know where they're going. So if we can have a role and a part in the leadership center, I'm sure the judiciary of Kenya will continue leading even in that area. And very lastly, as G34/5334/87, who entered the University of Nairobi on the 15th of July, 1987, and left on the 29th of October, 1990, I can speak with authority and say, we should be the leaders at every sector because we are the University of Nairobi. This afternoon, we hosted all the universities in Kenya, their deans and lecturers and students. And we committed to partner with them, and the Dean of the University of Nairobi is here, on moot courts, mentorship, and we as judges of the Supreme Court committed to have a lecture circuit starting this September across the country at every law school for the foreseeable future to encourage, mentor our young budding lawyers to one day aspire to be like Martha Koome, or indeed myself. Good evening.
Mesikia kutoka mwenyewe, and Your Excellency, I can confirm, because last year in November I was taken for 2 weeks in that Harvard school where my friend went, and I can be able to confirm that it is a wonderful place. I don't mind again going back when it comes to Nairobi. So, Your Excellency, with your permission, sir, Vice Chancellor, can you introduce the other Vice Chancellors and your top team here in a minute? Yeah, in a minute.
Thank you, CS, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, the Chancellor, the Chair of Council, and all distinguished members here. I think the only Vice Chancellor who is here is Daniel Mugendi, who is also the Chair of the Public Vice Chancellors Committee. Welcome, Professor Mugendi.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I must invite for a minute also the Chair of Council, Apeta Kwa Kerere. Sasa atasema tu na introduce wale wengine council members. Yeah. 1 second. Dakika moja, Chairman. Sasa
Honorable Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, CS, Honorable Cabinet Secretary is present. My job is to introduce council members. They are here. I'm just a chair, so I can't shoulder blames alone. We have a council. So on that note, may I introduce council members? The first one is Joe Kibe. He's a council member, a prominent businessman. We have Parmen Narikae, Dr. Parmen Narikae, a CEO. We have Sally Toroitich, also an academic. We have Karen Omwenga, a veteran NGO activist and also a professional. There is one more missing, Ahmed. Has he gone? I saw him around. He's gone. So, you said I shouldn't spend much time, otherwise I'll make noise, and you don't want to. Thank you.
Finally, sir, my colleague, none other than Moses Kuria, the CS Public Service. Karibu.
Thank you, my brother, CS Ezekiel, Prime Cabinet Secretary, my good friend, Chancellor, Professor Patrick, Professor Keama, and all the wonderful professors here, ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I'm here today for 3 reasons. And I will be very brief because if you want to see me very humble, Jeff, is when I'm in front of professors. Because somebody told me at my level of education, if I want to be a professor, I have to go back to school for another 14 years. And luckily, because I'm also a very experienced person, Ezekiel Machogu has a new policy called recognition of prior learning. So by that policy, he has promised to make me a professor, simply from that policy of prior learning. But I am here, first of all, as an alumni of this great university. Jeff is doubting whether I went to school. I want to confirm to Jeff that I not only went to university, but I went to the university. Yeah. And that makes a whole difference. So as Isaac Lenaola has said, the president, I am D33, stroke 1310, stroke 90. Yeah. From the then only school of business in East and Central Africa. And I'm very proud. I must also say that I was a student leader in this university, and a very problematic one for that. I remember one time in 1992, I led students to some place in Nyandarua because we were told that some people who are doing something called ethnic clashes had come over there to Nyandarua. And then in our own simple, stupid, idealistic beliefs, I put students in one matatu, and we went to stop those people who are fighting. And then President Moi heard about it, so he sent the then DC for Nyandarua to arrest us and put us in. And as fate would have it, when the DC came, he looked at us, he wondered, who are these people who want to fight? We were so thin and emaciated. And he ordered that we be given bread and soda and milk, and we were sent back to the university. And that's how, I was able to complete my studies. That gentleman is standing on my left. And he's now my colleague, the CS for Education. So if he would have jailed me as Moi wanted, I would not be standing here today as a cabinet secretary for public service. So I'm very, very proud professor and chair and chancellor of this university, and I'm very proud to be associated with this great institution. Second thing, I'm here because I associate fully with the Big Five. I remember when the president appointed Professor Patrick, and because we were working together on other initiatives, and there was some problems. Government has some bureaucracies. And I remember I was out of the country and I talked to my brother Machogu here and I told him, look, we can't allow bureaucracy to stand in the way of this great appointment. And I talked to Professor that morning and he was on the verge of giving up. I was also on the verge of giving up because some people wanted a Kenyan appointed for this position. And I was so determined. So I told him, just give me 5 minutes. So I picked the phone, I called the president, and I told the president, I'm giving you 2 check boxes in view of what is happening. Do we want a villager to villagenize the University of Nairobi? Or do you want a global person to globalize the University of Nairobi? And the president told me there is no way we can go back to the village. And that is how this gentleman was appointed finally, and the rest is history. So this journey to globalize this university, you know, it could not have come at a better time, be it on health matters, innovation, the AI, leadership, name it. These are topics which are very timely now. And Professor, I want, on behalf of the President and the government and everybody, to say that we are going to work with you and we are going to support you in every way to realize your dream of making this university a great university. And that dream of making it #1 in Africa is very, very, very realistic. Finally, I am here because to support this dream, my ministry is collaborating with the University of Nairobi in several ways. As Professor has mentioned, we are going to do a twinning of the Kenya School of Government, which is under me, with the University of Nairobi, specifically on 2 areas. One is on the Leadership Institute, because we want the government part of that Leadership Institute to come from the Kenya School of Government, and we are going to break that barrier to ensure that we work together. The other major area that we want to support this initiative is on the green jobs. My ministry is also responsible for the Huduma Kenya service, which is very popular. Last year, we served 13 million Kenyans through the Huduma centers, 52 of them. And now we've just acquired private partnerships to enable us to scale up the Huduma centers. One of the areas we are scaling up is, I've discussed with my brother here, that we want to set up business process outsourcing centers, BPOs, and call centers in all the public universities, starting from the University of Nairobi. What this will do is that because we are going to work on offshore jobs, on green jobs, students working, who are in the University of Nairobi can now be able to work on our call centers, on our work study, and part of their salaries will be deducted to pay for their fees in support of the new financing scheme that Professor Machogu has put in place. Professor, I said Professor, because priorly, Professor Machogu. So, Professor Patrick, Chancellor, I want to really say that through these 2 initiatives, we are going to work hand in hand on green jobs, on the issue of leadership, because these big 5 must be a reality. As you may be aware or not aware, ladies and gentlemen, Professor Patrick is also the CEO of the Global Center on Adaptation. And the Global Center of Adaptation, they have got a wonderful headquarters in Rotterdam, in Netherlands. Now, we are taking the Prime Cabinet Secretary, my boss who is here, and I are taking a paper to Cabinet to host the 2nd headquarters for the Global Center on Adaptation here in Nairobi at the Kenya School of Government. And I am very, very proud of that development, because the Kenya School of Government is going to transform itself to an African School of Government. We already have MOUs with 23 African countries. And the head of AU, Nepadu, was here. We are in discussion of how we are going within the next 3 years to convert the Kenya School of Government to the Africa School of Government. And that is going to be very good for the University of Nairobi through this collaboration as we move together. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me say that we have a chance. We have an opportunity to make history. We have an opportunity to do things differently from how they have been done. Let us all today strive to to make this place. We cannot have the University of Nairobi the way it was when we were there. We have an opportunity now to work together, to make it a different place, and to really change humanity. Asanteni sana. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me now request each and every one of us to be upstanding as we welcome the Prime Cabinet Secretary to be able to make his remarks. Tafadhali tumkaribishe na makofi. Yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay, please be seated. I'll see if I'll get the names right. Professor Patrick Van Coyen, the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Education, Ezekiel Machogu, my friend Honorable Moses Kuria, the Chairman of the Council, Professor Mkoa Nangwe, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Stephen Kiama, Deputy Vice Chancellors, distinguished council members, faculty members and heads of departments, members of the university community, the Judge of the Supreme Court, Lenaola, diplomats who are here, Your Excellencies, our dear students, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. I'll be a bit formal so that this goes on record. It is a great honor to be here tonight at this Chancellor's dinner hosted by Professor Patrick Van Coyen. Let me just pause there and emphasize one or two things, or just touch on a few things. A few days ago, we were with President Ruto in Atlanta, and we had the chance to go to the CDC, the Center for Disease Control. And one of the things that came up was that the head of the institution was trying to pronounce my name. And there was a serious problem. Just the way his name gives us problems. And they ended up saying something like Mudadadi or something. So I realized the only way I could get out of it was to say, thank God, it was not a new disease. Because then it would have spread and people would be wondering, what is this new disease that the CDC has discovered? But on a more serious note, as you are talking about being the chair of the Wangari Maathai Foundation, and I think the daughter is somewhere, is she still here? Yeah. Something touched me, because when we went for the African Union Summit earlier this year in Addis Ababa, it was my first time to be there as Minister for Finance. And they then made us walk around to see a few things. Then there was a section where there's a bronze statue of prominent Africans, Julius Nyerere and others. And then I was told, now you see this section here. This section was designated by the African Union as a corner for the statue of Wangari Maathai. It was empty. There's no statue. There's no bronze statue on the spot designated by the African Union for Wangari Maathai. I think my statement speaks volumes. Let's think about it. So I extend my heartfelt gratitude to Chancellor Van Coyen for inviting me to be part of this special event to celebrate the unveiling of the Big Five transformational initiatives that will propel the University of Nairobi to a fit-for-purpose, sustainable, and resilient future. This demonstrates how the university is keeping tabs with the government and the international community, particularly on sustainability interventions geared towards building institutional resilience. It further reinforces the education reforms that His Excellency President William Ruto envisaged when he appointed the Presidential Working Party on Education Reform in September 2022. I am also pleased to take advantage of this opportunity to return to my beloved alma mater. Yes, I am extremely proud to be an alumnus of the University of Nairobi. I take pride in the fact that this university has produced 35% of the top 1,000 scientists in Kenya, according to the AD Scientific Index report. Furthermore, the Center for the World University Rankings places the University of Nairobi among the world's top 2,000 universities. It is also placed in many rankings among the top 20 African universities. The university is also a member of the African Research Universities Alliance, ARUA, which recently launched an ambitious initiative of nurturing 1,000 doctoral degrees per year for the next 10 years. The vision of this consortium is to make African researchers and their institutions globally competitive while contributing to the generation of knowledge for Africa's socio-economic transformation. These statistics serve to exemplify our national commitment to education and informs our collective efforts towards making Kenya the top academic destination in the continent for the benefit of our children and grandchildren. This will ensure that a Kenyan graduate is competitive anywhere in the world. They also demonstrate how the University of Nairobi leads as a beacon of knowledge and innovation, nurturing generations of leaders and professionals who have made a mark in shaping the development and future of our nation, our region, and the world at large. I am pleased to note that the Chancellor's transformative agenda includes strategic initiatives to show up innovation, equip young people to lead the green transition, and harness the power of artificial intelligence. It will also help to bridge the gap between the academia and industry to accelerate the growth of emerging sectors in line with the government's bottom-up economic transformation agenda. This is a bold vision for the future and commitment to excellence that will define the university's trajectory for years to come. These initiatives come at a momentous time in the history of our country. Kenya has earned its place in the global arena for being an attractive regional hub for foreign direct investments. The key drivers of these FDI flows include the emerging opportunities in many sectors, including financial services, technology, and education. Foreign relations and diplomacy, which are under my jurisdiction, are playing a more significant role than ever before in emerging regional and global issues, including trade and investment, security, and climate change mitigation. I have just returned from the United States, where I accompanied His Excellency President William Ruto to a historic state visit hosted by President Joe Biden. The President engaged constructively with his host, government officials, and the US private sector. He was able to strike deals worth $36.15 million US dollars, or equivalent to 4.7 billion, for basic and higher education sector programs. I'm just focusing around the education sector. And one of the issues that came up here was that there was strong reliance and emphasis on STEM, which is what you have been pushing for. It's all part of the AI to try and strengthen our capacity there. I am delighted to note that the University of Nairobi is one of our institutions of higher learning that will benefit from this investment. This will certainly buttress the Chancellor's agenda and spring this institution to the pinnacle of innovation and entrepreneurship. I envisage a university that will nurture the entrepreneurial spirit among our students and faculty. Further, it will incubate groundbreaking ideas that will transform industries, drive economic growth, and contribute to social transformation. Professor Van Coyne has assured me that he will work with the university administration to draw on our existing faculty talent and attract further top talent from around the world to study and conduct research at the University of Nairobi. We expect that the university will bring together the brightest minds from diverse backgrounds who will enrich our academic environment and enhance Kenya's competitiveness in higher education and research. I encourage the university to lead the charge in equipping students with the knowledge and skills necessary to navigate the complexities of international relations by fostering a deep understanding of global issues and encouraging active participation in international dialogue. We can prepare our youth to be effective ambassadors of Kenya. Such training and mentoring will contribute meaningfully to the advancement of our nation on the world stage. Our expectations are particularly high about the future role of the University of Nairobi in developing expanded research partnerships with other leading international institutions. Such strategic collaboration will enhance its research capabilities, access cutting-edge resources, and foster collaboration on groundbreaking research projects that address national, regional, and global challenges. Ladies and gentlemen, at the heart of our continent's development is leadership. I am also confident that we can look at the university as an institution that will continue to contribute to the next generation of African leaders. Our students need to be equipped with the skills, knowledge, and mindset needed to lead with integrity, vision, and impact. With the Big Five initiatives, this institution will be well placed to nurture ethical leadership and empower individuals to drive positive change in their communities and beyond. Looking ahead, university leaders and faculty bear the profound responsibility of nurturing the next generation of visionaries and trailblazers. It is not enough to impart academic knowledge. You must also cultivate leadership skills that will empower our students to lead with integrity and a sense of purpose. All our academic institutions must be breeding grounds for individuals who are not only academically proficient, but also equipped to navigate the complexities of our rapidly evolving world. It is my hope that the Chancellor's bold new initiatives will inspire and empower the entire university community to reach new heights of achievements, setting a new standard of excellence that will be recognized and celebrated on the global stage. In particular, I challenge the University of Nairobi to mold champions of our national interests and global ambassadors who will ensure that Kenya's voice is strong and influential in the international arena. I may just pause here to say that one of the things I'll also be reaching out to you and to the academia is that we have never quite documented Kenya's foreign policy appropriately. We have had bits and pieces, attempts, and then it remains with the executive. It is our desire and our commitment that as we celebrate 60 years of independence from 1964, this is going to be the 60th year, we want to be able to present to Parliament a policy and indeed have a sessional paper on Kenya's foreign policy. We will want to engage you because we want to break away from having a foreign policy that belongs to the executive and to have a foreign policy that belongs to the Republic of Kenya. So we shall be seeking your support, your input, your advice, your criticism until we arrive at what we can collectively say this is Kenya's foreign policy position on the following issues. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenya's prosperity hinges on a collective effort where the pursuit of knowledge and academic excellence is intertwined with a commitment to national service. We must encourage our students to use their skills and knowledge to address the challenges facing our society, to innovate solutions that benefit Kenyans, and to lead initiatives that drive sustainable development. Ladies and gentlemen, let me conclude my remarks by extending my warm congratulations to Chancellor Van Koyen and the entire University of Nairobi community on the unveiling of the Big Five initiatives. The transformative impact of these initiatives should inspire other universities to strive for academic excellence and make a greater contribution to share prosperity for all Kenyans. Together, let us forge a legacy of innovation and unwavering dedication to the national interest. Let us ensure that the University of Nairobi not only shines as a beacon of knowledge and excellence, but also stands as a testament to our collective resolve to uplift our nation. May the spirit of unity and progress guide us towards a brighter, more prosperous future for Kenya and beyond. And as I step off the podium, I don't think I would be wrong in reminding Kenyans that since independence, this is the first time we are having a president from the University of Nairobi. It is just there right under our noses, but we don't realize, because all our other presidents have not been from the University of Nairobi. Am I wrong or right? So, then there's every reason why he was very categorical as to what Kuria said, that it is important that we globalize this institution. We broaden our horizons. We nurture the right kind of leadership. Let us migrate from being parochial as a nation, as a people. Let us engage in real discourse. The last general election we had in 2022 was a landmark election because it brought about the kind of integration in terms of the political divide that we never, ever conceptualized. Kenyans were on both sides of the divide. People who found it easy to go to the booth and vote on ethnic lines found it extremely difficult this time round because they were voting from a completely different perspective. It is a milestone. It is an opportunity. It is a moment for us to really transform this country. Let's seize this opportunity. Let us not go backwards. Let us go forwards. Let us make our engagements that are issue-based so that we persuade each other on issues and not the difficulty of pronouncing my name or Patrick's. You've noticed I've chosen the easier part. Let us really be patriotic as we move ahead. So thank you all. Asanteni sana.
Sorry. Musalia Mudavadi. I can imagine what they were calling you in Atlanta. But by the way, on the streets, we know him simply as Mudavadi. You know this, right? It's a cool guy. Short and sweet speech, unlike the guy before him, who wanted to call everybody in this room to speak and announce KCSE results. You guys are a great audience. Thanks so much. Look, we're going to have a musical interlude right now, but because of time, and Prime Cabinet Secretary has just come back from Atlanta. He's got a bit of jet lag. You noticed his American accent a little bit, right? He said, Atlanta. Did you hear him? It's Atlanta, United States of America. The deputy ambassador here is approving. He likes because you guys have been here. We're gonna just quickly go around the room, just two, three people, to ask them what they think of this initiative, this goal, this legacy, this dream. We're going to start with the Africa Director of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Paulin Basinga. Paulin, where are you? Yeah, there you are. Just a couple of words of what you think, and then we move around the room, and then I'll let you guys go. But nobody stands up until I say so.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Very difficult to follow great speeches. Maybe I can come here, not to stand on the Chancellor's podium, but thank you very much, Chancellor, for having me here. I am Paulin Basinga, Asante Sana, to be in Kenya, so I'm the Africa Director for the Gate Foundation. All protocol observed. Excellency, thank you so much for welcoming us here in Kenya. Our CEO, Max Suzman, and Mr. Bill Gates himself, when he was here, discussed with the President the opportunity to open an office here. The government has been amazing in terms of really speeding up the process. Everything has been in place. We are now in Kofisi. We have an office now. 3 staff here will be expanding our presence here. So thank you so much. Now, just a few words to say we are behind the Big Five in a big way. And I will say this mainly on behalf of the young students who are singing here. I grew up in DRC. I can speak Lingala. They sang in Lingala. Did you pick that?
Yes.
Really good song in Lingala. And they sang the East African anthem, really represent Kenya in this region. And at the same time, they sang the University of Nairobi anthem, which was really powerful. It was my first time to hear it. I think everyone should really listen to that. You know, that the University of Nairobi is the pinnacle of excellence for knowledge, to serve the people of Kenya, but also to serve all mankind. So we at the Gate Foundation, we support health, agriculture development, financial inclusion in Africa and around the world. And you've chosen the right chancellor. We work with Patrick in his other capacity, and you could see him globally talking about this university. It's infectious. He's bringing the whole world here. So thank you very much, Chancellor. So we're here. We'll continue to support the University of Nairobi just because it's the right thing to do, because they're supporting the government of Kenya to do something that we strongly believe in, to use data for evidence. Because as we know, we cannot solve most of the problem that we have without using evidence. And we've been working with University of Nairobi, the Center for Modeling, Epidemiology Modeling and Analysis. They've been doing an amazing job. We've made a grant of $5 million US. We are continuing discussion with them to expand that support in the long term so that we can really continue. I remember, Vice Chancellor, you hosted Mr. Bill Gates at the university. He went back, he said there is talent in Kenya. So we'll continue to support that. This is, the Big Five number, Big Five, the number 5 one, but also we will be expanding the connection to other part of the Gate Foundation and other philanthropies for them to know that there is talent here. Now, let me switch a little bit in Swahili and say something. I think the Permanent Secretary of Education, you said something very powerful. I used to work at a university before I joined the Gate Foundation 12 years ago. I was the Dean of the School of Public Health in Rwanda. The big challenge that your talented people have is the bureaucracy in the university, the hierarchy in the university, because we at the Gate Foundation or any other philanthropies, it's very difficult to give unrestricted grant. We want universities to apply for grant. Most of the time, watu wanaandika grant ni wanani? The young people. They spend night at the university, they write grants, but when the money comes at the university, it's stuck in the process. You know, the chancellor, the vice chancellor, the professor, 5, 10 PIs. I've been at the foundation for 12 years. I've been trying my best to send money to universities in Tanzania, in Uganda, in Kenya, in Rwanda. I sit on the board of the University of Global Health and Equity in Rwanda. The chancellor is Jim Kim. And they've been able to streamline the process, to move things quickly, because for the Big Five to move, you actually need to access funding. And you have a master's in grant writing here. You need to make sure that when investors put money in the University of Nairobi, they know that it will go quickly. But if the process starts being slow, the report is not coming, etc., this is why we give the money to implementing partners. We look for a fiduciary partner that will manage. And then when the money goes through a fiduciary partner, they take indirect cost instead of the indirect cost coming to the university. I think Chancellor will say na Swahili vizuri sana. Sisi hapa my Swahili is broken, but I'll do my best. Tunaomba kufanya vyote kabisa franga ingie hapa Afrika, tena tuitumikishe vizuri, hapana kuponyokesha franga kisha viende mbio. Juu kama haiko hivi, wale watu watapitisha kwa watu wengine, franga inaenda. So that's my advice as an African, as a Kenyan, and we will be able to make that. Thank you so much.
Paul Mpasinga, ladies and gentlemen, Africa Director, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Once more, round of applause, please. Thank you, Paul. Professor Vakoyan, you understood that Swahili, right? Franca, yeah, money. Yeah. Is Nados Bekele Thomas here? Is she gone? Is she here? Nados? Okay. What about Winnie Carano? Winnie, are you here? Winnie. Okay, real quick. Wambui Chege, Director, Agri-Food and Climate at the MasterCard Foundation. Wambui, are you here? Oh, there you are. Microphone to her, please, real quick.
Thanks, Jeff. And just to start, Jeff and I were former colleagues many, many years ago when I started my work life in Kenya, working both in Reuters in Nairobi as well as in Joburg.
Oh, I remember you.
Yeah.
You're the one.
Yes, I am the one.
Goodness gracious me. What happened to me?
Yeah, so this is a bit of a surprise, but very happy to be here and very happy to actually hear about the Big Five agenda for the University of Nairobi. I think it's a great dream. So my name is Wambui, as you heard, and I'm Director for Agri-Food Systems and Climate at the MasterCard Foundation. I'm based in Nairobi. So the MasterCard Foundation is also one of the world's largest foundations, very similar to Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And our goal, about 5 years ago now, in 2018, 2019, we transitioned our work, a lot of it, from Canada to Africa. And the reason we did that was to make sure that we focus on what we consider as Africa's greatest challenge, but also, as Patrick said, Africa's greatest opportunity. And that is to help support and solve for the youth unemployment challenge on the continent. And how we do that is we've set ourselves a really big and ambitious and audacious goal of enabling 30 million dignified and fulfilling work opportunities for young Africans on the continent, 70% of whom must be women. We have a strong partnership with many universities across the continent, including University of Nairobi, through programs with RU Forum, which is a forum for agricultural universities across the continent, and the recently announced partnership to produce 1,000 PhDs in Africa every single year. But we don't just stop there. So most recently, when we were looking at how do we solve for what are the best pathways to work actually on the continent, because this is a question that every government is asking itself. This is a question everyone who's working on this continent is asking. And we found two pathways through our reviews recently. The first is entrepreneurship development is a major, major pathway, because you come out of school, you do not have a job. Most likely you will end up employing yourself or figuring out a way to become self-employed. And by the way, most young people do not just have one job, they have hustles, very, very many. And the way they define dignified and fulfilling is we let them define dignified and fulfilling. The other pathway is workforce development. And so we have to prepare young people to be able to take up opportunities. And when you were talking about the green jobs and the green economy, that was like music to our ears, because the future of Africa is green. We have the natural capital, we have the talent. We must equip our young people to seize opportunities in the green economy. So our priorities as a foundation for work are really aligned with what you have unveiled as the University of Nairobi, and we look forward to supporting you. We're working in digital economy, entrepreneurship development, health and education, green economy, which is now a really huge focus for us, as well as workforce development. So all the best, and we look forward to working together.